So I hang out a lot on places where artists can meet and talk, because I'm a painter, and I see like a lot of posts that are like this. And I also remember growing up knowing a lot of artists that also would say things like this, and I wanted to say something about it because it's weird to me, this idea that I hate my own art. I hate my art. I think I'm a terrible artist. I know I've been practicing for years, maybe a decade, but I hate my art. I hate my art. Does anyone else feel this way? How do I like my art? How do I get motivated to make art that I like? What do I do? Why do I hate my art? I don't like it. And a couple thoughts off the bat. When I see this, I think, do you make enough art? Do you make enough time for your art? Because once you spend a lot of time and you know you're giving time to your art, it seems unlikely that you would want to hate on your own. I thought of this story of a time when I was younger and I had less time to make art because I was doing school, and it seemed like more imminent, like these thoughts were pressing against me, all these negative thoughts about my art. That was definitely a bigger reality back then, and it was like something I had to let go. Just something I had to let go, like a bird in a cage, just let it go, let it fly away. And then there was this really good time that I remember being like this moment for me, realizing I need to take other people's input and consider that valuable input. Like when someone else says, wow, you're really talented, wow, I'm so amazed that you made that in like 10 minutes, or that's a really good drawing. All these little comments and people supporting me was valid. And in fact, it was selfish for me to be invalidating myself, because it's also invalidating all these kind things people had done for me, which was to reach out on a limb and say your art is beautiful. I remember it clearly. A middle school project I had to do, a video project, and I decided I would make an animation, even though I don't know anything about animation. And I spent hours, I stayed up nights, I drew all of these intricate pen drawings, I was trying out my new styles, and I remember just going up to my dad, and I was like, Dad, I can't do this. I hate my drawings. And he's like, what? You hate your drawings? Wow, they're so beautiful. I love them. I'm so amazed. I can't wait to see what it looks like. And I said, but I have to keep working on it for hours. It just doesn't look good enough. And he's like, oh, that's silly. You're already done. And I took his advice because I was like, even if it did look terrible, like I probably put in a ton of effort compared to what the teacher's expecting. I might as well call it a day, wrap it up. And I just wrapped it up just as it was, and I got a really good grade, and it was fine. And it was just like a really good example for me of like a time when I was so lost in just complete nonsense, BS, my own head. It just was such a good example of a time that I was so convinced that my work was bad, and I just needed someone to look at it and validate me, and I just went with it, even though I didn't trust it with my whole heart. I just went with it, and it was all okay. And that was just so weird to think about, because like, what else have I kept myself from because of negative voices in my head. How out there can those voices be? How completely unrealistic can they be? What else am I hiding from myself that I'm really good at, that my voices say horrible, terrible things about, and I just believe it? That brings me to something else that strikes me as a warning sign that I'm headed towards deeper psychosis, deeper nonsense. How I'm going deeper. This is something I've just noticed for myself, that how one way I know I'm going deeper and deeper into my own head, which is bad. Going deeper and deeper into something that is completely nonsense. Something that will take me astray in a really efficient way, is that there's an extremity to my thoughts. So if my thoughts suddenly start saying, oh, it's so good, oh my God, holy shit, it's amazing, holy shit, whoa. Or if my thoughts start to say, it's terrible, I don't know why you ever picked up a pen, I don't know why you ever tried to do this, I don't know what on earth you are living at, I don't know what you were trying to go for here, you're totally out of line, completely, totally, very much so. Negative words coming at a higher and faster and more extreme pace, or positive words coming at a more positive, a more higher and faster and extreme pace. I don't trust any of it. If it's at any extreme, I don't trust it. Just like if someone is showering you with compliments left and right and you really didn't do anything and it just seems kind of fishy, like you wouldn't really trust that person, right? They probably want something from you. It's just like that. All these negative thoughts or the extremely positive thoughts, I don't trust either of them. I just aim to walk some middle ground, and I grab a little bit from the negative tree, I grab a little bit from the positive tree, and I carry it in my basket. I carry it in my bag, you know. I take it with me, but I don't necessarily try to get everything off one tree and everything off another, because I have to keep moving. That's the one thing you have to hold on to, so you keep moving. And it's just so weird to me when I think about that. How unrealistic my mind can be when coming up with scenarios. It's like that too. It'll say, you know, everything is bad, everything is good. When in reality, it's neither. It's a little bit of both, and maybe at different degrees to different points, and maybe that's okay. And like this is what every beginner has to face, whatever the topic that you're working on, whatever you're trying to get good at, is that you shouldn't trust either of these thoughts. You should aim for true neutral if you really intend to gain mastery of it. That sometimes you can be fed lies from other people or from the past. You can hold on to those and make them bigger than they are. And the scary thing is that you can make them magnified compared to how they're supposed to be. You might be completely in the wrong, and it takes that kind word from someone else, anyone else, a family member or a stranger, for you to realize you've been tricking yourself. You don't deserve to be treated cruelly, and there's no power in demeaning and diminishing to a tiny point yourself. There's no power in that.